We're down in London this weekend for Rouleur Live. It's like a big post-season celebration of everything road bike. Some of the best bikes and some of the best riders, all here in London for 3 days. Let's go. I'm here with Martin from Reap Bikes. Martin, we missed you at Bespoke where we saw this lovely bike here. Lovely to meet you in person finally.
And you, yes, thank you.
So, as far as I understand it, you are the only UK manufacturer of high-performance carbon road bikes.
I think that's correct, unless you count Hope, who do the Hope track bike.
Oh, of course, yeah. But in terms of things that might compete with a Specialized or a Look, for instance,
absolutely, yeah.
The only ones you're going to argue probably better.
I would argue better, yes.
And you're based down in Silverstone, right?
No, we're based in Stoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where's the Silverstone heritage? Because I've seen it on your website.
Right, so we use the Silverstone wind tunnel quite a lot because that's the most accessible. That's a massive change to the development process.
And that's an important point. This is actually properly aero tested, designed. This isn't just like drawn nicely on a piece of paper. This is
it is very well considered. Yeah.
So can you just talk us through some of what you think are the main features of this? What we should be most excited about?
I think the most exciting is actually the ride. I don't know the aero and the design. I think speaks for yourself. But the ride, the way we've actually used the different laminates and the composites to the carbon to actually structure the ride. Yeah. We've introduced a new material which we've been trialling, which is a bio-based material.
Is this similar to the bio-based Dyneema that Time might use?
No,
it's
brand
top
new.
Secret.
Top secret. It is top secret. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it is top secret. I think we're the only company that have used it thus far.
Okay.
And we've been testing it out.
And this adds some compliance.
It adds compliance, but we've been able to balance it to add compliance and also give us some additional stiffness.
Okay.
And we've actually taken a little bit of weight and taken weight out, which is a real magic formula.
That really is. That's it.
It's like,
all the box tick.
Wave the one. Yeah. So I think really, and this is the part that we find as a company really difficult to articulate, is you don't know until you've actually ridden one and what it really feels like and what the bike's all about.
Yeah.
So it looks the part, but it's actually the feel and the ride once you get onto it. That is that defining moment when you get a customer to ride the bike and they go, wow, that is different. That feels stiff, compliant. All those things,
and then suddenly, why aren't I being shaken to death? Why isn't this like knocking my teeth out?
Yeah, but it isn't at the disadvantage of actually being really really soft and
flexy. No one likes to flex.
No, we don't flex it. Yeah.
It looks fantastic, and I really can't wait to ride one. You've promised us to go on one of these, which I'm really looking forward to. Because, like you say, the proof is in actually how it rides, where you're really trying to distinguish yourself. Is that right?
Yeah,
ride quality.
Yeah. So we manufacture everything in Stoke, including the bars as well. Yeah. And we've considered the bars and the cockpit quite carefully because we found that we wanted an integrated package, but we found that if you buy another brand, you'll get a set of bars with a stem and you've got no flexibility. So we actually have a range of 10 to 14 centimetre stems, 36 to 42 bars, but they're all, you've got,
and this is an aluminium stem, CNC machine or cast?
Yeah,
CNC machine that then you then bond in carbon onto, so you've got a lot more control over how the cockpit is orientated.
So it's very, very customer-led.
Yeah. Our RPM is going forward is 6,000, including the handlebars, everything we see here, which is about on par with most of the major brands in this category. If you were to order one, how long does it take to go from order? Because you pretty much build to order, don't you?
Yes, we do.
So how long what would that process look like for someone ordering one?
We've actually gone through quite an iteration of the learning process, so we can get it down to between 4 and 6 weeks, depending on the complexity of the paint job, which is the biggest challenge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, if you look at that one,
I mean, this is absolutely beautiful. This is your personal bike.
That's my personal bike.
It's beautiful. I don't even know what you call this paintwork, but it looks like some fantastic paint effects and beautiful colours on this. So you really can do this raw finish right the way up to a beautiful finish like this.
It's all in-house. It's all in-house.
It looks fantastic. So as I understand it right now, you've got the Vector model, which is probably your best-selling aero road bike.
Yeah.
Got this
Vulcan, which is
triathlon, definitely not UCI legal.
Triathlon specific, very specific for triathlon. But that was our first bike, and we learnt a lot from that and how that works to be able to actually make this bike.
And if we do like a little shimmy on the camera work here, we've got this gravel bike, total prototype. It's the first one, belongs to your son, I believe.
Yeah.
And I looked at this and I thought, actually, if I was to want a gravel bike, this is probably what I would design. So wide tyre clearance, 50 millimetres.
50 mil front, fantastic. 50 mil at rear.
This looks like to be a nice slack head angle.
Yeah.
Loving that for the type of gravel we ride on. This looks very, very short change days. Liking that. This is making me sweat a little bit. Talk me through this.
Well, the whole point of this, the challenge of the back end is 50 mil tyre clearance, but also keeping the standard bottom bracket width, so that we don't change the Q factor.
Yeah, because normally to do this, you would make everything wider so you can tuck everything in, but you've kept that a standard 86.5.
Yeah. So keeping that nice and tight, 50 mil tight. So we've got, that's the challenge. But also we want, because of the materials we're using, we want this back end to be able to dampen even more. So we're trying to articulate. This is why it's a prototype, because we can go and try and break it, you know, and we're hoping that this back end moves.
So
that's why it has to be wide here.
Yeah.
So you've got the stiffness of the bottom bracket.
Yeah.
So you don't lose anything while you're
pedal efficiency. Yeah.
But then we're actually going really narrow, so we actually get the back end
flex.
Get the back end to flex.
And this is apparently what, foam filled?
No,
foam core?
No, there is a foam core in here somewhere, but it's not in that bit there. That's actually hollow.
Oh right, okay, wow.
Yeah, that bit is hollow. That took a little bit of
engineering by sense.
Clever at laminating.
Okay, looking forward to it. I love this one-piece integrated thing. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The quality is lovely. Thank you so much for your time, Martin.
Right.
Hopefully we're looking forward to seeing more Reap bikes on the channel. Totally fascinated by this unique brand. Thank you. I'm here with Matt from ENDURO Bearings. Matt, you're the owner and engineer.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for letting your team on my podcast.
Anytime.
That was really, really brave of you. I think we covered a lot of ground in that podcast.
I did. You guys did. That was fun to watch.
And there's a couple of things you want to put me right on. Because I asked about XD15 bearings and headsets, and you think that I'm wrong. So explain to us all.
No, you're not wrong. But XD15 bearings are really made for rolling.
Okay.
Like think hub bearings and bottom bracket bearings. Those are rolling elements, and they're always going forward 100 RPM, 200 RPM.
Yeah.
If you're a bike racer, maybe going faster. But headset bearings, they're steering bearings.
Okay.
They're not rotating. They're just actually almost like shock absorbers.
Yeah.
Because you got long suspension forks or a gravel bike, a lot of force, and what it's doing is this motion here is fretting, not spinning.
Yeah.
Totally different action.
So you think the ceramic balls inside an XD15 shell is not the way to go for headset bearings?
That's what we found.
Okay, but you're convinced that the 440C stainless steel is the right way?
Yeah, so here's a little summary of it. So a ceramic ball turning is a ceramic ball is 7 times harder than steel.
Yep.
So when it's turning, it's a different capacity. It's doing a different job. When it's in this position, it's got to be a shock absorber. Ceramic ball is like a rock.
Yeah.
So it doesn't give at all. A stainless steel bearing, think of it like a pillow. It's actually flexing. So as your fork is moving, you're going down the trail. There's a lot of force. You know, the suspension fork is working.
Yeah.
Those little balls, those stainless steel balls, are actually flexing and absorbing shock.
Okay.
And working with
and they're still hard enough to have the durability that we need.
Sure.
Obviously, you're giving it a lifetime warranty, which is pretty brave.
Yeah. Well, it's brave, but it's our experience.
Okay.
Because we've had stainless steel headset bearings out for 20 years now, and frankly, I can't remember. It's less than all the fingers on 2 hands of the ones we've replaced. Very few.
It's only now that I think it's become so important that we're having all this internal cable routing that people are really starting to appreciate the value of a stainless steel bearing. I think that's probably why it's come to the forefront of a lot of people's minds.
You got a point there, because you ask any mechanic, and I talk to those guys, it takes 4 hours to redo the cables when you want to replace the top bearing.
Absolutely.
One bearing, 4-hour job.
Talking of which, the other criticism I've got is that these bearings are fantastic, but you don't make a Dana DCR, an FSA, ACR bearing.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now.
Which I think is really important. So have you got plans for a 51.8 version? Please.
You got me now. We were talking about that. You set me up. Okay, so ours is 50.
It's what we all want, right?
And I'll tell you why. So yeah, we do have the 52, and the reason being is we replace a lot of bearings on carbon bikes. A lot of the carbon hole, the bore in the carbon frame gets a little bit bigger. And so when we go to 52, the bearing goes in, snaps in, everything's tight, everybody's happy. Now on a new bike, we'll talk later, but anyway, 51.8 will go in a little tight, or maybe not go in. So we're going to grind some 51.8 just for you.
Just for me.
Because I said I would.
And our time audience, etc. Who really need that
time audience. So we can do that on a production run.
I look forward to that.
We'll grind some 51.8 millimeter, and then my inventory guy is going to kill me because we have another SKU. But anyway, I got to explain that to him. I hope he doesn't watch this. Not yet, anyway.
I'm looking forward to that conversation when you get back to the office. Matt, thank you so much for your input, and thanks so much for engaging with the channel as well. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the show, thanks.
All right.
I'm here at Scope Wheels, and first time I've actually seen these in my hand. Very exciting. So they're actually doing something fairly unique in wheels, which is tough to say these days, to be fair. So this is the one with the fish scale pattern on the rims. This is their race spec version. They're using the carbon spoke. These are actually internal nipples. This is a rim tape under here, so you can remove this and get in there and adjust it. What I really like about these guys, they're using carbon spokes, but what I really like about these hubs is that the actual holes are captive. So if you do break a spoke, you're not going to have the whole wheel collapse on you. These are actually all amazingly 3D printed out of various alloys. Look at this, the weight of this, like 142 grams. Very, very impressive. They work on their own ratchet system. I'm just going to remove this. And what they've done is they've built in this special spacer so that you can't over tighten them, so it keeps the preload correct even as you tighten up the through axle. Some really, really clever designs. Now, all of these hubs come with SKF bearings as standard. There's also a ceramic speed upgrade if you're into that sort of thing. They also do a slightly more realistic wheel set as well somewhere. Where's that big one with the... that they've mounted up with this amazingly wide 40mm tyre. I think that's just for effect at the show, but this is the more reasonably priced, I think £1,200 for this. Standard sapping spokes, aluminium nipples, but the actual rim profile looks very familiar as well. Again, using their own components on the inside. This definitely competes with an awful lot of things in the market. This is something very special indeed, and hopefully we can get our hands on the set for the channel, tell you guys more about it actually out on the road. Nice. Managed to catch hold of Markus Storck. Markus, this is your bike that you built for your 60th birthday. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It is without doubt my favourite bike of the show. The details of it are stunning. Could you just talk us about some of the details that you've put on your bike?
For sure, of course. So this year for my 60th birthday, sorry, I'm doing 4 different bikes. So I have an Airfast, which is the fastest bike at the moment, by tour testing in the wind tunnel as well as calculated.
Incredible.
And then we have an Ario 3, we have a Crix 2, and we have an E-Crix. And all are equipped then with custom Scope wheels. So Scope managed on the new Arctec wheels to make a special series for us with a natural hub.
And that's got your signature on it as well,
as well, and it's numbered. So it's the first, from what I know, really numbered bikes, like in cars, in vintage cars. So the number from the wheels and also the number on the Campagnolo crank arms is matching. And
so you were very keen to point out to me that this is not the Super Record S.
No.
This is a legit special edition.
Exactly. So that's a Super Record group and we got it made in a matte color because I really like matte colors.
Yeah.
And then we have the signature on the derailleur, on the front derailleur, and on the crank arm. And again, that is matching with the badge thingy from the bike, and is matching to the wheels. So about the Airfast, what we have achieved is a bike where the frame is also very light at 890 grams.
Very good.
And it's offering not only aerodynamic, it is very stiff, so you get a maximum power transfer. And what it does is you get a lot of comfort. So we're getting out 1 centimeter rear comfort.
1 centimeter rear compliance.
Yeah, I can show you this. Yeah. And we're working very long on a technology directional depending stiffness. That's our marketing name for it. But what it does is we're building in comfort into the components, and the components in the other direction are stiffening out. So what it does is you get some, I would say, comfort-oriented ride, but for example, when you accelerate, you want a stiff handlebar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's exactly what it does. And the second technology we did build in is hysteresis flex, which means we have a damping mechanism in it, so it's not bouncing. So on some of our seat posts, we're having up to 28 millimeter comfort, but it's not bouncing. So when it goes back, it moves slower and it has a damping mechanism.
Interesting. So there really is a lot of details internally that we can't see, as well as all these lovely details that we can see on the outside as well.
The idea behind this form follows function. So you have products and also bikes which are just having details for the design purpose. Here, it's always the engineering purpose and then packed in a nice design.
Love it.
So, and
I'm all about that.
You see, for example, that is a detail for over 100 years. Handlebars were 22.2 diameter.
Yeah.
You have the clamp, you roll them over. We have a camtail here. And just touch it with your hand and get an idea how it feels.
So you've done an aerodynamic handlebar section. So how do you get the clamp on?
We needed to manufacture an own clamp, and that has cost 30,000 euro to develop. So something invisible, but I didn't want to use the carbon fiber material and use a bolt, because then you can't adjust it. You can't move them inwards, you can't move them up or down. So, and it's obviously lighter, and you can get the comfort orientation into it.
So it's £30,000 worth of tooling to make the clamp.
Development, not tooling. Only development. Yeah.
I bet that's an interesting accountants meeting.
So
Markus.
A similar color I did for Aston Martin with the Aston Martin project we did several years ago. So I'm really in love with that color.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And what I wanted to do is to giving that sparkling, shining effect to it.
Wow, so this is really a very limited edition. Not just for you, but you can get something similar yourself.
No. The point is, customers and visitors here ask me, why are you doing 600? And I said, no, I make myself a gift, and there are other 59 lucky persons. That's the idea about it.
I love that. I'm really amazed. It's my favourite bike of the show. Thank you so much for sharing your passion with it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Markus. We were breaking into the show early to speak to Sam. You come all the way from Italy, Sam.
Yeah.
From
Morning,
Pirelli.
everybody.
And I'm so keen to speak to you. We're a pretty big fan of Pirelli in our shop. We kind of got into your brand quite early. Loved the whole P0 branding, and we had a really good feedback from our customers. We've seen your brand grow and grow. So I'm really keen to speak to you. What's been your journey so far? You've had problems. You've moved to a factory to Italy. What's been the progression so far, and where do we think it's going?
It's been a pretty, I would say, intense journey, even though it's only 7 years now. So because we came back in 2017, very short. So we are pleased with what's happening. I have to say the plan was already to try to grow quite quickly in all the cycling categories. We started from the road one, of course, because that made more sense also in terms of our average consumer, and also the image of Formula One, which is a road motorsport. So there were many reasons why road racing was
this definitely appeals, having
Pirelli
P0 written on the side.
It's clearly helping.
And I think you've now got the new TLR, the RS version, which clear competitor to the famous Grand Prix 5000. Is that your
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah. So we clearly did our homework. Also, that happened even before we came back to the cycling market. So we did a benchmark on how the technology level and performance level of roller cycling tires were. So to study if there was room to provide some value as a Pirelli. We realized that there is room to improve, and clearly that tire was the benchmark. It still is. So we are doing our best to raise the bar. We know that this is stimulating competitors to do even better, and we are seeing that happening.
Do you think we'll see more Pirelli in the pro peloton coming soon?
Yeah. Can't say more, but you will see more of us in the.
That's definitely your aim, to be up there.
Yeah, the aim is the same in a certain way that of what we do in other disciplines in terms of 4 wheels or 2 wheels or moto and car. We are a racing oriented and really high-end brand also in those disciplines, and with cycling is no difference. I mean, we don't have any different target than stay where there is performance and technology, which almost always means racing. So, and it's in our DNA since a very long time, so it's very natural for us to stay where the racing is, and that applies to all the cycling disciplines. So road is the one where we are more mature, but you see we are expanding in mountain bike, cross country. Now there is gravel racing, even downhill. So everywhere where the competition is high, we will be there.
And it's very easy to get carried away by the absolute top of the range, the dream tyre, if you like. But you've been doing some other work. We've been featuring the Cinturato tyres on our channel recently, and comparing them to the very famous, again, Continental Gator Skin. I'm sorry to keep bringing them up.
No,
but
that's what it is.
Bicycle rolling resistance test said that you're more puncture resistance, you provide more wet weather grip than the Gator Skins, which wasn't hard, let's face it.
And should be faster even.
And it's faster correctly as well. And how we get that message across, you've actually done something really good.
And still is, I think, because we have seen with the Cinturato Velo, it's been quite interesting because we kind of created the high performance tire in a category which was used more to, let's say, mid-level tires. So that's a good example where we raised the bar, and we did it with technology. Again, materials. We have 2 patents inside the Cinturato Velo, one on the rubber and one on the rubber compound, and the way the compound is constructed, so it's 2-way, which is coming from motorsports. So we have to re-engineer that to apply to cycling, but the concept is coming, and the patent itself is coming from.
So the Cinturato question, we've talked on our channel, when the Cinturato first came out, we had a little problem with the tyres blistering, and you've been on top of that, and we've since. Can you talk us through a little bit about the journey of launching the tyre, seeing the problems, getting the feedback, and then producing it better, and how that works? What's the journey?
We have to mention for that also the manufacturing process. So at the very early stage, we didn't have a factory, our own factory, but the industrial model was to manufacture our own compound, despite and regardless of the manufacturing plant, which was happening in some of our competitors, and still is for some of the price points. So now that we have our own factory and we control also the manufacturing part, machines and processes, we have full control. It was not as such at the beginning, so we had to adjust what we provided as a rubber compound formulation with the process.
Yeah, so now most of your tyres are made in Italy, aren't they?
We are transferring all of them, all the P0s now, they are made in Italy. You are going to see news also on the Cinturato.
Just to repeat, all P0s
are now
across the range. The race.
I think only the SL is the only one that has remained in France, but it's going to be
moved to Italy. And it's still just the Cinturato range that isn't in Italy yet. But it will be at some point. I look forward to that.
Let's wait and see. There's not much to wait. But
and just to wind this up, you're also making some great moves in gravel. I think the mountain bike is probably hasn't quite caught on yet, but gravel definitely seems to be a growth area for you right now.
Yes, I think we had a wise decision a few years ago when we released our first gravel tires with a range which was already complete and quite balanced in terms of performances. So they were, and there still are tires which are not the fastest and not the grippiest, but they are really good in all of the category, in all of the properties. And we have quite a good availability of sizes and tread pattern choices. So this made a good offer, which is at the base of our success in gravel tires, I would say. And we are also moving them to.
Cool.
We're in the process. So.
I've got one last question for you, just going back to road quickly. I've seen that you're showing a 40mm wide road tyre.
I was waiting for that question.
No, I'm really keen. Yeah. Where do you see that ending? I kind of thought 32 was going to be the widest, but here you are launching a 40mm wide P0. What?
And it's having even a bigger success than what we were expecting.
Okay.
It's picking up more than our expectation. What we have seen is basically the need of a comfortable and reliable tire for all converting gravel bikes or all road bikes. So basically the use, which is made on the large majority on tarmac, but is free to go on gravel sections, light gravel section if you have, and the need for having a quicker handling of the bike, so the feeling of having a performance tire was there at that such a
So you think that the puncture resistance on that P0 is good enough for some light gravel?
Light gravel and not as a majority of your riding.
Yeah.
I mean the P0, the all-round P0, so what is called TLR only, so without the RS, it's already quite very well balanced in terms of reliability. We are not talking about the level of Cinturato, which is another scale. That is more a proper gravel tire in terms of reliability. But the P0 in 40 is capable of taking small gravel section with ease. It's not a proper gravel race. That's what we have to communicate now, because of the size we are seeing a lot of people that are approaching the tire as a proper sleek gravel tire, which is actually not the main use.
Interesting, a slick gravel tire, but you heard it here first. It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's you will see something.
It's been great to see the 7-year journey of Pirelli. I think you've been really, every time we've seen there's a challenge, you seem to have overcome it, especially working with the retailers. I don't know what it's like with other retailers, but we've definitely seen us feeding back and things actually happening and moving things forward. That's why it's been so exciting to work with you.
Yeah, we are still young at the end, so there is a lot more to learn that we have to do in the process of from tires to handling the industry, service, dealer, providing feedbacks, listening. So we are a 7 years old brand in this field, even though we have been into cycling for many decades, but that was in the past. So we consider ourselves still in the learning process. 7 years is pretty young, especially if you consider an environment where there are established brands. And all of our competitors, they are here since 30, 40, 50 years. So
yeah, absolutely. Let's look forward to seeing you on the podium. As much as you are in motorsport, in cycling, that's the goal, right?
That's what we are working for.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sam.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. Thanks for taking the time. We're here with Alex from Look. First of all, welcome to the stand. Last year, it was a bit of the stand was empty as you got stuck in customs.
Yeah, I felt very depressed. And last year, I said never again to the Rouleur, but we're back because we never give up with the UK. It's so good.
It's fantastic. And the interest has been really high. I mean, your booth has been packed. We've had to sneak in early to try and get a quiet word with you this time.
Yeah.
So, the art of cycling, behind us here, we've got this live painting, which is probably the most interesting thing on the stand of any of the stands here. The artist will be here. We've got some time-lapse footage, and we'll come back for the big reveal. What's the story between Art of Cycling? What's the?
Well, Art of Cycling is really the new brand platform that we're about to reveal. It's really how can we bring a new chapter with Look about doing some outstanding design, outstanding decorations, and we're also working on possibilities of configurators in the short run, trying to really get this feeling of something that is really standing out of the crowd. So, and Look's always been famous with color things and colorways, and Mondrian is very popular everywhere. So we want to bring a slightly good twist to it. So that's what we're doing here.
And I love that this whatever's happening here is going to still stick with those Mondrian colors.
Yeah. And this is the second frame set that is going to finish today. So yeah, maybe you'll come back a little bit later. This one will be my favorite. And we'll do some cool things, and probably it will be seen in next events with it. Yeah.
So Look have had a hell of a year. Power meter launch.
Yes.
How's the power meter pedal launch gone so far?
So far, so good. So I'm really happy about. I've been explaining a lot of simple things about the power meters here to customers, which is probably simple things like 60 hours duration for the battery. It's 130 grams, so it's very light. And it's really normal. It's very simple to just connect it, just like a speaker, Bluetooth speakers to your bikes. And the only thing you need to do is just to put it 2 twists like this, and it will connect automatically to your computer. So it's been very successful.
I'm curious. Have any of the people that you spoke to at the stand mentioned the review that we've done on those pedals?
Yes, of course. Yeah. I must admit, I've talked to quite a few fans of Mapdeck.
Excellent,
cycle.
you heard it here, guys. Get in the comments, listen, because these guys do listen to your feedback. It's fantastic. So other things that have happened, you've just launched 2 new e-bikes, the e-Gravel and the e-Optimum. Not really our vibe, but just talk us through where you see that market going.
Well, it's very important to continue growing that segment. We're working with Fazra because we want autonomy, we want lightness and riding capability. So we're using the new Fazra Ride 60, which is 450 watts. Same platform, 1 e-bike and 1 e-Gravel. And we're using the SRAM system, so SRAM group sets. It's a one by for both bikes with 1044 developments kind of thing. So very simple, but at the same time, very, very interesting. And these are the products that needs to be tested.
And where's that market growing? What country? Where's really engaging with
mostly in Europe. Of course, France is leading. We've got also Germany. Benelux is starting to be really good markets for us. And like I said, now there is a complete new vision. This is not for old peoples or like the product itself is something where you must have some presence. It's really important to keep that alive. Yeah.
It's great that you're expanding to that sort of thing and approaching the wider market, I've got to say. And building on top of that, you're now launching a helmet with a collab with Abbas.
Yes. So we did a first very limited series in Protein Black, and it was so successful that now we are launching 2 colorways, Protein Black and Protein White. So really, whoever's riding our famous 795 Blade RS should be wearing the Abbas Game Changer. And it will be available. We'll send you a couple of test helmets, 3 sizes, 260 grams, and it's really, really cool helmets.
And you can have a black helmet and a white helmet. We were laughing earlier because for the UK, you provided us with a white bike and a black helmet. Yeah. We want it the other way around in the UK. We want a black bike and a white.
I tend to agree with everything you said, but you only have one problem: is you don't like white. So we can't argue. This is we need to have some kind of arguments, but I prefer white. You don't like white, so it's fine. And we'll get both colors.
We're going to get some of these helmets on the channel for a test and for riding around. Thanks so much for your time, Alex. I'm looking forward to seeing this when it's done. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Awesome. I've managed to find Harrison from Princeton's Carbon Works. You watched our review of Princeton's. What was your reaction to that review, Harrison?
I'm glad you didn't roast us. I was waiting for it. I mean, that's what happens on...
It was a friendly roast, I think. There was a few things.
I think it was pragmatic. I think it was honest. I think it was good. Usually we just, whenever we watch internet reviews, we just sort of get ready for the clenching in the comments because... You're never going to win.
A lot of reviews focus on price, don't they?
Yeah.
And I was trying to really look at the details. I was amazed at the quality inside your carbon. It's definitely one of the best constructed carbon rims I've come across. Absolutely beautiful.
Appreciate that.
It was, and then just how you're building out the collection now has been impressive. You've got a new deeper section, 7580.
Yeah.
I think people have been asking for that.
Yep. So we had been bringing the evolution to all of our wheels sort of sequentially. So we started with the wake, and then the peak, and then we moved on and on and on. And the last one we did was the Mach, which is our deeper 7580, average depth of 77.5. And people had been asking, and we kind of took our time on it, and we wanted to make sure that the wheel was really good, was correct.
And what's been the reaction to that so far?
So we just launched it 2 days ago.
Oh, right, okay, so no one's really ridden it apart from your prototyping
Not majorly, no. So like we did prototype rides, we have test riders, we obviously work with some very high-end, top-tier cyclists.
Yeah, just a few,
So that feedback is very valuable to us.
Yeah.
And I trust that feedback because I say I don't want, we're not paying sponsor dollars. I don't need you to sugarcoat this. I need to have honest, real feedback on the wheel. So,
athletes are normally pretty good at telling you what they want.
Yeah. So we don't pull any punches during any sort of testing. There's no sugarcoating of what we do. We're really honest with ourselves and with our customers and with everyone. So the wheel was launched 2 days ago. It's honestly, it's beautiful. It's fast. It's stiff. It's a little bit wider even than our Mach. our Wake and Peak Evo. So it's 22 hooked internal.
Okay.
So slightly wider, but yeah, it's a beautiful wheel.
Talking about width, one thing that really caught my eye was your new, I wouldn't say gravel, but all road
gravel, yeah.
This is the dual. You got to 24 millimeters on this. And the reason I found this interesting was because a few brands are now going 24 millimeters hooked on their performance roads.
Correct.
You're calling this an all-road gravel, is that right?
Yeah, so we typically stray away from having serious conversations about width in regards to like what the market demands. So like there's a certain segregation between what the Pro Peloton demands and what the market demands.
Sure.
And where we are unique is we develop all of our wheels based on what the riders are racing on.
Sure.
So that's sort of one of the key differentiators between us as a company and other wheel brands is we really don't care so much about the market. And that might surprise people to hear. But what we care about is being on the bikes that are winning races and helping those athletes win races.
It's very much a win at the weekend, sell on Monday approach. If you've got it right for the athletes, then you think other people will want it.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, that's why you're keeping with 22, 21 millimeters on most of your performance
on the road stuff. Yeah.
Because that's what your athletes are saying. That's what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the tire width I want to run.
Exactly. So the teams we work with and the athletes we work with, they do a lot of testing around tire width, tire pressure, rolling resistance, but also handling and confidence and comfort on the bike.
Yep.
If you have athletes that are coming to you and say, hey, if I'm riding a super wide tire at low PSI and I don't feel comfortable in a turn, it's not worth whatever 1% rolling resistance gain I get.
Yeah.
So there's a whole matrix that you have to take into account of rolling resistance, aerodynamic performance, weight. You know, you move up to a big tire, you're adding weight as you're adding width.
People
to the
forget
tire.
about the weight
People
of the tire.
Forget about
they really do. It's all right, well, the weight of the wheel, but a wider tire.
Yeah, you're adding more rubber. Yeah. Rubber's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But also you're losing PSI. You're losing pressure, and you know there's a reason why the guys in the track are still running crazy high pressures on narrow tires.
Yeah. On a smooth road, high pressure still faster. Absolutely,
yeah, of course. Yeah. And at the end of the day, our cyclists, our racers, they need to be confident when they ride. And if they can't be confident, there's no way they're going to be fast.
Absolutely.
If you're shaking going down a hill, you're the slowest guy on the ride, right? You're holding the brakes and you're going down slow. You want to be super confident, and that's how you get the most speed. So we are really, I think, one of the few companies that offers the exact product.
I'm really
glad from the Pro Peloton to the public.
I'm really glad you mentioned confidence, because in my review that was a key word for me. Was I wanted to feel confident bombing downhill, but also on those big wide open flats where there's a crosswind. I wanted to feel confident in maintaining my speed. Yeah. And that was probably my takeaway with that wheel, was actually a lot of the speed was probably in my personal psychology as to maintain the speed. Yeah. So I'm glad that that's kind of on your horizon.
100%. It's a holistic approach. Like, you can't focus on one metric, right? When you were a little kid, you'd play the racing car games on like video, and you could choose the car that was really fast in a straight line, but then you'd end up in the bush, you know, like you'd be off. So you need to take a holistic approach to speed and make sure that it's a very fast product, but it's also got all the other metrics in line. So there is a balance. I talked to someone on a review about width. I forget what it was, but I said, you know, it's a pendulum. It's going to swing. We swing all the way over to wide. But I think we're going to coalesce around something that's not quite as wide anymore. You know, we keep going wider, wider, wider.
There's definitely a trend, isn't there, that goes one way and then it sort of settles back. And you're
so
totally right.
I think we will coalesce around 30 is pretty wide for road racing. Like it's pretty wide, a 30 tire.
We're definitely finding that in the shop. 30 millimeter tire seems to be where people are really happy with it right now. So that's for sure.
So we're trending, you know, it was 23, 3, 4, 5 years ago, 25. Now it's trended up to, you know, 28 in the Pro Peloton. So between 25 and 28. Some of our TT setups are still 25 in the front, 28 in the rear.
Yep.
I still think 30 as far as professional road racing might be too wide.
Yep.
But 28, 25 in that wheelhouse. A lot of wheel design is driven by the fact that there are only so many tire widths.
Yeah, that's true.
So if we had more tire widths, we could maybe do more. If we had more tire widths, tire companies, maybe we could do more optimization.
I've been speaking to Pirelli, they're doing a 40mm now.
Oh, good. I'm thinking maybe like a 27, a 28, 29. Like,
a bit of fine tuning, yeah.
We'll get there.
And more importantly, everything's still hooked. No plan to go hookless, right?
Excuse me?
No plan to go hookless?
No plan to go hookless.
Excellent, well done. And one final question, where are you with hubs? Still sticking with the Tactic hubs as your main?
No, we offer all brands of hubs basically. So our standard sort of portfolio of hubs includes White Industries, Chris King, DT Swiss, and Tactic. Historically, we've offered Carbon TI, Tune, other hub brands as well. If you really want like a certain type of hub, we'll build you a wheel set with whatever hub you want.
Hey, that's really good to know. So you could do some Onyx Racing hubs or something. And
we try to keep it very neutral as far as what hubs, and certain hubs are better for certain things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you really want like a bomb-proof all-road gravel set, we're going to steer you more towards White Industries, Chris King. If you want the ultra-light climbing set for racing, then Tactic or DT180.
That's totally what I put in my review. It's great to have that options. If you really want the lightest of the lightest, it's there. You want something bomb-proof, it's there. Nice one. Thank you so much for your time, Harrison.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Right now we're here with David from HEXIS. Now this stand looks pretty boring, but sometimes these small stands have the most interesting startups, and I was really interested in your product. It's just an app, right?
Yeah, so myself and our founders' backgrounds, we've worked in professional sport for the last decade across a range of World Tour cycling, Olympic sports, NBA, typically you name it, we've worn the tracksuit. But we got very frustrated with the inefficiencies of delivering truly personalised, periodised nutrition to enhance performance and accelerate recovery. We actually met on our PhD journeys. My PhD was more in behaviour change and his was in exercise physiology. And together we came together to ultimately build the future of sports nutrition.
So the reason, it is a nutrition app, but what really got me interested, it's not an app where you have to scan barcodes of stuff, is it?
No, I think there's a
Which is so annoying.
There's a huge problem in, if we look at nutrition technology right now, everything tells you what you've done after you've already done it.
Yeah, so MyFitnessPal, for instance, you scan it and tell you you've eaten too many calories, rein it back in.
Exactly. However, we know that ultimately what you need to know is what do you need to do next. And every day is different and every athlete is unique. You could be training on the bike for 4 hours today, a complete rest day tomorrow. So what we do is we take the type, the intensity, the duration of your activity. You can manually add that, or we can passively pull it from your training planner like Training Peaks.
And that comes from Training Peaks and Strava.
Training Peaks, intervals, Apple Health, Health Connect, we'll pull that information.
A whole bunch of stuff, So you've got the information about how much power you've done, your duration, your heart rate. So you know roughly calories and intensity.
Well, I wouldn't even say roughly. When we look at your power, we'll look at the power you've done for the session, the kilojoules, we'll have a marker of gross metabolic efficiency, and then we'll be able to understand, from a very accurate perspective, the exercise energy expenditure cost. We'll look at that in line with your resting energy expenditure, your non-exercise activity, and then that recovery period to make sure we're delivering personalised support.
So how this is useful, let's say you've got out on a ride, 4 hour ride, and you didn't take enough food, you've had one energy bar, and you've told the app, 4 hour ride, one energy bar, what should I now eat? So the temptation there is to open the fridge and dive in, but this app is going to give you some guidance, right?
100%. I would say we even step in before that. So if you're going to go out on a 4 hour ride, we'll take that data before you go out and go, here's how you should fuel for this 4 hour ride.
Okay.
Here's how much food to take on the bike. And then when you come in, we'll then look at what you've done and we'll update the data for your recovery period accordingly with what's actually happened.
And how this does it, it gives you an idea whether you should be a carbohydrate heavy meal or a protein orientated meal, is that right?
So we run something called a carb coding system. So we look at when you need low, medium and high amounts of carbohydrate and energy. And then on a meal by meal basis, we'll recommend how many grams specifically you should have, as well as how you should structure your protein, fat and calorie intake throughout the course of the day to maximise your performance and accelerate that recovery process.
That's the important thing, right? Because the faster you can recover, the sooner you can train again. And that's what it's all about.
Well, exactly. Ultimately, you've got to get the work done. But I think we need to step away from looking at nutrition technology as a calorie counter. Actually, you get your nutrition right, it is a performance tool. So we're looking at HEXIS is really there as a training tool to you to enhance what your body is capable of.
What I really like is how you get data into this. Like I said, it was not a barcode. So can you explain how we feed your app with information?
Yeah, of course. So if we're looking at pulling in your training data, first of all I would literally do is just pull down that screen.
Yeah.
We'll now take all of the data from Training Peaks, pull it straight in, and your personalised nutrition plan has now been built and added for the next week.
And then let's say I've eaten something.
Yeah.
How do I tell the app what I've just eaten?
You can literally tell the app what you've just eaten. So we have the ability to manually search, which is traditional functionality.
Yeah.
We have a computer vision.
Pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah.
We have a computer vision model, so you can just take a picture. But my personal favourite is voice logging.
So hang on, just skip over that. You can take a picture of what you've just eaten.
Just literally hover over it. We'll just take a picture of whatever that food is, and then we'll calculate the nutrition information.
So let's say I've got a plate and I've got a chicken breast and some cabbage and some potatoes. It will recognise meat, greens.
Yeah, we'll just go over each food and it'll recognise each one. But my personal favourite is definitely the voice logging.
Okay.
So when you said, how can I tell it? It is literally, just tell it. You can just type on the voice logging and go, I've had 3 eggs, 1 slice of toast for breakfast, and then it's all done.
That's it. Literally just talk to it.
Just talk to it. The same way you send a voice note to one of your friends to let them know that you're late for whatever you're supposed to meet them for.
And then it will say, this is how many grams of protein are in an average sized egg, for instance, and then...
Well, exactly. If you want to give it portion size, you can also give it their portion size. So you could say, if you want, you could say, I had 3 eggs, or you could say, I had 3 large eggs. We will be able to take that information, convert that into text, look up against our food database, identify the type, the portion size and the quantity of food, and then map it in against.
So like most AI, the more information that you can give it, the more accurate type of answer you're going to get.
100%.
Fascinating. I really hope this does well for you. The app is called HEXIS.
HEXIS, we've just signed with EF for the next year. We're in with Uno X now for the next few years. And we have a few more exciting World Tour partnerships that we'll announce probably towards the back end of this month.
Awesome. Watch this space. Hope this is useful to you. Thank you so much for your time, David.
Cheers.
All right. And that's it. We're done for another year. Thank you for making it through this far in the video. I know it's a long one, but I hope you found all those interviews fascinating, and thanks for all those brands that engage with us. We've had a fantastic reception. So many of you very kindly came up and thanked me for the videos and what you've learned from the channel. That's I really appreciate hearing that feedback, so thank you. And also a massive thank you to the fan that came up and gave me the VIP entry. There was a time, and it's been an exhausting show, and I really appreciate to be able to go and sit on a sofa with a coffee and just chill out for a bit and then get back to those interviews. If you like this sort of content, please let us know. Think about giving it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, get those comments down below, because really, honestly, truly, the guys that we just been listening to, they really do listen and read those comments, and they take it all on board. This is a great way of communicating with the brands that make the products that you use. Hope that's useful to you. Take it easy. See you soon.